Hello and welcome back, dear teachers. And this time we are going to discuss how to create a multiple choice exam, but this time using your question bank on the new upgraded PLMS or Pegasus Learning Management System of Arellano University. So, as you have been informed earlier during previous orientations regarding the upgrades that was done in our system, they also were able to include this feature wherein you don't need to step by step, one by one, manually encode your exams like you were used to in doing or creating exams before. This time you can use the question bank, and that is what I am going to show you today. So the concept is this: before we go on to our actual discussion, there is this part of the LMS which is called the question bank. The bank is a storage area where you put all of your exam questions so that you can pull that out, and then eventually when you need it, you can put it uh, immediately to the class wherein that exam will be used. So this is where we are going to operate within this particular concept or within this particular idea. So you make sure that the question bank has your questions or has the exam in it before you can use that, or what we call import that from the question bank, going to the specified class wherein you will use that particular exam or those set of questions that is located in that exam. Okay, so what you need to do, as I mentioned right now, is to create your exam. And you are going to do this by using Notepad. So most desktops and laptops has this built-in in their Windows program. So this is called Notepad. And then after this, you just type your exams. So for this particular discussion, we are going to use multiple choice. I am going to make this a series, and I will also be discussing two more examples using the question bank feature. So the other two will be true or false type, and then the other one will be the identification type. Okay, all of this require different formats. So since this is already recorded, you can play this back once you get lost in the discussion. And then hopefully, if you practice this over and over again, you would be able to manage your examinations even without going back to this instructional video. So this is the purpose and objective of our discussion. So again, you open Notepad, and then from this, since I already have encoded or typed my exam, I'll just open the exam. Okay, and this is entitled multiple choice, and then I'll click open. So make sure you follow this format. What I observed when I was going through and testing this is that it is case sensitive. So whatever is the characters that you see, uppercase, lowercase, make sure that you follow the format. If not, you will be encountering errors once you import or upload this to the class wherein you're going to use your exam. So again, this is the format. So once you are done with your exam, so in this case, I only use 3 questions. And then this is very simple. So we can easily answer this and try to verify the answer. Later on, we are also going to verify if the answers are correct, because there was also an instance wherein if the case is not the case, which is upper or lower case, is not correct, it is not in accordance with the answer that you set. So in the exam that I did, you just use the numbering, numbers 1, 2, and 3. So I tried it without the number, and again, I was able to encounter error. So in order to avoid that, just use numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. So the this will depend on the number of questions that you have for your exam. So in this case, for the purpose of our example, we are only going to use 1, 2, and 3. And then immediately after the numbers, you just type your question, and then, uh, of course, in question form. And then after that, the choices should be arranged vertically, from letters A to letter D or letter E, whatever choices you have. And then after that, write the specific choices. So in this case, you have speaker, listener, medium, and feedback. And then after that, in order to identify the answer, you write the word answer in all caps. Write the word answer in all caps. Again, this is, in my case, it is case sensitive. And then after that, use colon and then space and then the correct answer for that particular question. And then another is that you put a space in between the first question and the next question in order to instruct the system that you are already on the second question. And then after that, repeat the same format. So the number, the question, the choices, and then the answer. So once you're done with this particular format, all you need to do is save, but you are going to save this as text document. So it has an extension of txt. So in this case, I already saved it as a text document with the name multiple choice. So you're going to click save, and then make sure you know where you placed your document. So in this case, I am already aware where my document is. You can put it on the desktop to facilitate easier access. So you can easily find your file once you already need it for your exam. Okay, now the question bank already has this particular file. Okay, so it has already a pending waiting set of questions. You will not be able to do that if your question bank is empty. So that's the first step. Make sure that the question bank already has your exam or your set of questions. So I can already close this. Okay, now as I was testing again the system, I placed my exam at the final grading period. So in this case, since we're only doing this for the purpose of showing you how to create the exam, I'm going to place the quiz within the prelim term. So I can easily scroll down and then immediately find the quiz. Okay? So unlike earlier when I was testing, I placed it at the final term. Okay, so we are already going to create the quiz. So when you open your LMS, which we are not going to discuss the process of how you open your LMS. So I'm assuming that you already know how to access your LMS, how to start and create a quiz. So this is where we are going to pick up the discussion to create a quiz. So make sure you turn, this is supposed to be turned off. So the first setting that you're going to see in your LMS is turn on editing. So this is the default. So usually, those who are already familiar with it, you have to click this so that you can edit the content of your LMS. So once you've turned it on, you're going to observe that the screen has added these plus symbols, meaning you can already add activities within that particular term. Okay, so as you can see here, as indicated, beside the plus sign, add an activity resource. So we are not going to put our quiz within the announcement. We're going to place it here under the prelim term, but you are, yeah, you have to find the add an activity resource towards the end of that particular term. So in this case, towards the end of the prelim term, we're going to add an exam. So add an activity. Add an activity or resource. Okay, now this window will open up. These are the activities and resources that you can add to your particular term from prelim to final. So in this case, in our discussion, we are going to create a quiz. So whether it's a quiz, a major exam, prelim exam, final exam, you are still going to use the icon quiz. So you click quiz, and then after that, again, to expedite our discussion, I am only going to, we'll try to see if we still have time to go through the settings. So I'm going to name this quiz 1, and then you write the instruction, follow, and so on and so forth. And then the timing will allow you to set the duration of your exam. So from what date? So in this case, July 19 to July 19, and then the duration of the exam, is it 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1.5 hour, and then uh, you can also set this expiration. Open attempts are submitted automatically if they run out of time. And then after that, I also usually the grade can be set later. Review options is already by default. And then after that, restrict access is there to set when the students can access the exam. So if the exam is for tomorrow, you can click this, and then you can click date to add the restriction for your exam. Okay, so the exam would be the students would be able to access the exam on this particular set date. Okay, so after that, under the grade, you also have the number of attempts allowed. Usually, as teachers, we only set this to 1. So they only have 1 attempt, and then after that, they will not be able to access the exam anymore. But for purposes of considering the situation of the students, wherein they have weak signal and other technical reasons, we can also use 2 or 3 attempts. But again, I also asked this no, query. This would be prone to the subjectivity of the exam, since the students were already able to see the exam questions during the first attempt, second attempt. Not unless the signal was so weak that they were not able to really open the exam, then it's fine. But if not, you can either use 1 attempt or multiple attempts, 2 or 3. Okay? So after setting all of this, you just save and return to course. Click save and return to course. Okay. After this, you will be able to see quiz 1 under the prelim term. So since we created it under the prelim term, you already have quiz 1. Okay, now, when you create quiz 1, this is just for the general setting. You do not have, if you click this, quiz 1, once you click it, there is no question inside the exam yet. This is where the question bank comes in. Usually, before the upgrade of our PLMS, the Pegasus Learning Management System, most of us, most users of the system do their exam, create their exam manually. So they do this one by one. Whether it's multiple choice, identification. Identification is for the short question, or true or false. They do this one by one. Okay, but now the reason why we're doing this is that you can expedite the creation of your exam by using this particular process. Okay, now, since we do not have questions inside our exam, which is named as quiz 1, we are going to click edit quiz for us to be able to uh, um, control and make sure that uh, we are able to add the proper questions in our quiz. So now, after entering this particular part of your screen, you go to this part of your screen. On the right side of the screen, you can see add, and then you can see the downward arrow. You just click that, and then you will see three options. Add a new question. Add is the plus sign. Add from the question bank, which is what we are going to use. And then the other one is add a random question. Again, we are going to use add from a question from the question bank. Okay, so we're going to click from question bank. Okay, now if you can observe in the menu that popped up, the category is under the subject that we are using. So this is the subject, elective 2, Monday, Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. So it should be the same. Okay? So make sure that the category is in the specific class that you are working on. So filter tags, I don't usually set the filter tags anymore. What you need to do is look at the bottom. The questions will already appear. So we did not enter the questions one by one manually, like we were used in doing the exams. So the questions are already here. All you need to do is click this letter T. I think it stands for total. So after clicking that, the questions 1 to 3, which is what we created earlier, will already have been ticked or placed a check mark. And then after this, add selected questions to the quiz. So if you only want to add particular number of questions, you can also opt or choose to tick the questions or put a check on the questions that you want to be included in your quiz. But in this case, we are going to use all three questions. So after selecting the questions, you click add selected questions to the quiz. Okay? So that is what all we did. And now, we are not done yet. The quiz or the questions from the exam were already imported and placed inside quiz 1 under the specified subject that we are working on. Okay, so we have three questions. You can see the questions displayed, and then on the right side are the respective grades. On top of those particular grades, this is the equivalent score for every question. So for question 1, you have 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, but the total, the maximum grade is 3. So all you need to do is click, and then you change 10 to 3, and then click save, so that it will coincide with the total number of points of your question to the maximum grade that is reflected in the screen. Okay, so now we've already saved this. We already have our question. We need to test if, number 1, the questions are reflected in the exam. Number 2, if we simulate the exam, will our answers coincide with the key that we entered into the exam? So we have 2 tests that we need to do. Now, so this is already saved. I am just going to go back to prelim term on this particular heading. I'm going to click prelim term to go back. Okay, don't worry, that's already saved. And then I'm going to go down to our quiz 1. So this is quiz 1. You can preview and test your exam before giving it to the students. So I'm going to click this in order to access the quiz. As you can see, the restriction is already reflected there since we placed a restriction. Again, the restrictions are there in order to control the access of the exam, especially if you want the students to access it simultaneously. Okay, so I've already clicked quiz 1, and there will be technical problems, especially regarding internet speed and so on and so forth. That's why you really need to expect that. So right now, um, it is still buffering, as you can see on top. And then attempts allowed. So you already, but I don't think this is the full screen. But as you can see while it's loading, you can already see that there is a preview quiz now, and number of attempts allowed for this particular quiz is only one. So they have to make sure that they make it count. And then we'll try to preview the quiz and try to see if our first objective has been attained. So the first objective is, did the screen display the right question and the right choice or set of options? So in this case, we already have this. And then you can go to the next question by clicking next page. And this is question number 2, and go to the next page. And this is question number 3. Okay, we're going to go back to the previous page because we need to test our second objective, which is to see if the answers, if we're going to answer this exam, coincide with the key that we set for these particular questions. So we're going to start with question number 1. Who is the source of information in communication? So the answer for this will be the speaker. So we are already simulating how the students will answer the exam. So the correct answer is supposed to be the speaker. So we are going to place all of the correct answers and try to see towards the end of the exam if we will get a perfect score. Okay, so if we do, then that means all of the keys set for that particular questions, for those particular questions, are correct. So this one is speaker, and then I'm just going to click next page. And then question number 2, who is the target of information? Who is the target of information in communication? So the target are the listeners. Okay, next page. Question number 3, what is the element that refers to reply, response, and react? And the correct answer is supposed to be feedback. Okay, now on the lower right side of your screen, instead of next page, you can see that you have finish attempt. So when you click this, you will be able to see that the answers, it is informing you that the answers are saved. This is also what the students will see. And then they will be able to finalize their answer once they click submit all and finish. If not, the other button will allow the students to go back to the exam and double check or change their answer. So in this case, we don't need to go back to the exam. So I'm going to click submit all and finish. Okay, so you have another confirmation, submit all and finish. Just click that. Okay, after submitting that, you are going to see the score, the result of the exam. So here on the top portion, you have the date, the state of the exam, if it was finished, or and then the time taken in order to finish the exam, 2 minutes 52 seconds, and then the grade or the score. This is 3 out of 3, equivalent to 100%. And then the status of the item is also stated here. So here, the correct answer is speaker. So the choice and the key is correct. And this is the same with the other questions. So who is the target of the information and communication? Here it is stated that the answer is listener and our answer is listener. Okay? So again here, elements that refers to reply, response, react is feedback. The correct answer is feedback. Everything coincides with the key that we set in the exam. So as you can see, this would, again, as I've said earlier, expedite the process of making your exam for multiple choice using the question bank in the upgraded system of our PLMS or the Pegasus Learning Management System of Arellano University. So I hope, dear teachers of Arellano, you were able to learn from our discussion today. Again, as I said earlier, I am also going to create other videos, uh, two more videos specifically for this particular feature and use of the question bank. But this time, the next video would be about um, true or false, and the other one would be identification or short exam or short question. So again, there the difference would be mainly on the format of the questions created in Notepad. So if we were already able to discuss the intricacies of the exam on this first video, you would be able to um, recall all of this on the next videos that we are going to have. So again, thank you very much. And again, stay safe. God bless. See you on the next video. Bye.